everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, bed. So I built myself a super strut bed, and it's very nice, like it. So when I did that, it seemed to help clear up the moisture a bunch. So now what I'm doing is I got this kaboom, and I'm just going about 3 of these at a time. So these are the first 3 I'm doing. And I'm just gonna spray that stuff on there and just let it dry right on there, right into there. And it's probably gonna take me, I don't know, like maybe almost a week to get all the way around. But I just couldn't do more than if I have to do it all at once, like if I see that it's coming back into the places that have already been, I might have to do it all at once, move everything, leave the door open, be outside after, spraying it down for, a few hours. Because just doing that much gets the noxious bleach smell in here up to a little bit more than I'd prefer. I've got my cell phone booster here. The thing that's holding me and keeping me from installing this is these rings are bigger than the through ports I put in the roof to run that through. So those won't fit through, so I'm stuck kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to put that through the roof. What exactly I'm going to do. I haven't figured that out yet. So, as you can see, it's starting to snow, and I'm getting zero power. So, and it's looking like that's going to be the way it is. My battery is at 42.2, and it'll go all the way down to 35, but my inverter turns off at 40 volts. My lighting and heating goes off at 35 volts. So it's forecasted to be like this for possibly 2 days. So what I have to do currently to get to stay alive, or whatever you want to call it, just to manage, is I come out here to this thing. Now this thing, I'm working on it right now. So what I have to do currently to get my truck started, okay, which that little inverter right there is sold as a 2,000 watt inverter, but I rented a 2,000 watt inverter generator, and I was able to power my AC charging to my main home battery from a 2,000 watt inverter. That's supposed to be a 2,000 watt inverter, but I think where the problem is that 115 volts. So I got more than enough videos of that thing cutting off, trying to do just about everything. Okay, so it's super underpowered. So what I have to do to get the truck started currently is I have my extension cord here. Okay, plug the extension cord in, turn this on. After sitting a night, I'm at 12.5 volts. Okay, turn on the inverter, run the extension cord, keep it up off the ground, and then so that's step 1, is get the truck started. Okay, and I get the truck started with the power that's in there currently. That is mostly what that does right now, that box. So I have bought a 3,000 watt 120 volt inverter that I'm going to install in there. I'm also going to install a converter And I'm going to make this engine block situation just a switch in here. So I'll be able to just open the box, turn on the inverter. So I'm keeping this system as is, right? I'm then adding a whole nother system on top of this system to do a different job, which is basically the job that I bought this thing for, which is this needs to be a generator, right? So I've got a 250 amp alternator in my truck. I upgraded. I should be able to charge at 10 amps at least, if not 20. I was able to stick it on the 30 amp setting and the inverter generator did not kick off, okay? I put it on the 10 amp setting and this thing freaking kicks off. This thing can't even handle 10 amps. So this other inverter that I have will handle 20. I'm hoping I can get 20. I've got a cord that I need to rewire into my AC. I'm gonna put a plug here that will have the access to the 3000 watt inverter. And then I've got to add a cord reel to run back over there to plug in over there if I want to get power from the truck. So the whole thing that I'm doing is I'm making it so I can pass power between the truck and the house and vice versa, right? Because right now I could plug the block warmer into the home if I had good solar, and that's it. Like I need to start the truck to run the truck to charge the batteries, okay? So if it's nice out, I don't want to have to burn diesel to charge batteries, right? I just want to plug it in and have a converter charge the batteries. Perfect, easy. And then at the same time, if I need to start it, I can just switch on the inverter and have the block warmer heating, okay? So that is all happening. And then once I get my correct battery built, which I might order that battery next month, depending on what money comes in. But once I have that, I'll be able to take that Midnight 250 charge controller out. Like, I don't need that. That thing sitting next to it, that's an all-in-one. That does everything. The only problem is my battery is incorrect, right? And I've gone over that before. So I'll then be able to put the solar charge controller in the truck and put solar panel on the roof and build out a solar trailer that can handle, you know, as many panels as I have up here right now, I could have on a trailer. And so I'd have a totally mobile power unit that can actually put out some pretty decent power. I mean, you know, 3000 watt inverter can get some stuff done. Okay. So I'm working on that. I just got that new internet installed and it's freaking awesome. It's more expensive by quite a bit, but I dropped my cell phone bill down, so I'm getting the exact same cell phone service for $15 a month that I was paying $72 for. Yeah, don't get Google unless you want to use a Google phone and take advantage of their multi-network deal. You know, and even then, you're always on lower class, like, because they're buying service from other service providers. They don't have their own towers, so they prioritize the Google low. So it sucked. Horrible. So now I have T-Mobile with a cell phone booster, which I gotta take my old internet out and put the cell phone booster in. up there. Oh, and I already showed you the cell phone booster. So I got that going on. The truck really is the biggest project right now because, well, look at all the things I have to do just to have power, and then it isn't even powering my battery. Okay, it's been about an hour. I've been out plucking junipers. I'm gonna make a whole video about that, but so the truck started. Once the truck started for the day, then I cycle it based on the battery and the temperature. So if it's been too long but the battery's still got a lot of charge, I'll still turn the truck back on, and too long is basically based on the temperature. Today it's snowing. It's just snowing though. It's not like super cold. It's just cold enough to snow. So I'll probably start the truck, I don't know, about every 2 to 3 hours. So one of the things with this truck, or with this box rather, is that little gauge there. That gauge tells me how full the battery is, because it's not working correctly. So that was intended to tell me how much voltage is coming into the battery, but because they messed the box up, it's telling, which it's actually a better thing to know. Oh shoot, I left the door open the whole time. Oops. Okay, so here's what I gotta do. I've got to unplug everything that I've got plugged in here, because my battery's already to 4.2, right? So it's only got 2 volts before it's at 0. I'm using 135 watts right now, and that's about ready to go to a lot less. So I plug in the extension cords. This is what's wonky. Like, if that inverter in the truck was a 120 volt is my guess. If that was just a 120 volt, then I could just have one cord that runs from the truck to the charge, to the all-in-one, and then when the truck was on, I could charge the battery and not have to unplug all my stuff, run extension cords through doors, and that's what I'm working on. So, and once that's, then I'll just have one cord that I'll have maybe even a kind of a nice, so better than this, some official way to get it out nicely through door, and I'll plug that in, and that will just power my whole entire system. And I can just, like, yeah, or depending on the day, maybe once or twice a day, just run the truck, fill up the system, and be done with it. I don't think it'll pick up on camera, but one of the biggest problems with this inverter in the truck is that 115 volts. Nothing likes it. My freezer here sends this high-pitched hum when it runs off of the truck versus when it runs off my solar system. I don't hear it at all. So yeah, that inverter's just garbage. All right, so I'm using 0 watts through the solar system, and I'm getting, oh, look at that, 4 watts just popped up. Oh yes, but I've made 0, nothing. I haven't made anything today. Battery is, oh, the battery's right there. You can see the battery voltage. And that is, that's my cutoff. Like, I can't really mess around, because if it goes to 40 volts, if it goes to 40 volts, the inverter just shuts down and will not come back on until it gets all the way up to 46 volts, which is like a sunny day. But I'm not due a sunny day for like one more day. I might get a little bit of sun tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just scrambling now. It's all about parts for this. Basically, I had to I wanted to get the inverter, take a look at it, get the back of the box open, take a look at everything in there, kind of, just start thinking about how it's all going to go together, because like there's a whole system in there, right? And I got to put a whole nother system in there, and I got to do it and make it, high quality, like where it's just going to work really good. It's not going to have any problems. So I got to really make sure I get that right. Now, this diesel heater is great on some levels, and then it's as far as efficiency, there's the exhaust. That's the cleanest diesel exhaust. I mean, it's like there's like zero smell. Like that's like condensation, right? That's humidity. It's not like weird exhaust stuff, right? So it's very efficient. It burns diesel better than my backhoe and my truck. So, but it burns diesel. That thing it was not quite full yesterday. So we are looking at, depending on what level it's on, it has 4 levels. It actually has 5 levels. So once I get to the water, once I get plumbing, then I'll be able to go to level 5, which will burn even more diesel. But full cranked all day long burns in about 24 hours of just, which I never really leave it full cranked. Like, it's never on 4 at night. Some nights it's on 2. Okay? So it's not one of those things that I'm going to be able to just, I'm going to go on a vacation this winter. No, I've got to be here to make sure that stays full to keep everything from freezing. So, and it doesn't turn itself on and off on a thermostat type of situation, right? It's just got settings. You just turn it on, and it's like a heater in your car, right? Your heater in your car. Well, I guess maybe some fancy cars you can set them to a certain temperature, but whatever. So, as far as like a permanent solution, well, things are going to be a lot different around here when this little area is complete, when all the structure here is where I want it to be. The heating of the interior area and the cooling of the interior area will be very, very low requirements for that stuff, because it's all going to be just buried in the middle, right? So at that point, but even at that point, I can have fireplaces and possibly another furnace that works on a thermostat system. Oh wow, I might get a little sun. So this is my extra refrigerator. Not sure if you watched my video on birria queso tacos, but I had some extra consomme left over. So what I did was I made chili. Ah, it's frozen because I left it in the shipping container because I don't really have anything big enough to put that pot in, or anything big enough to put what's in there out of there until I eat some. So, chili. So the wind has been pretty crazy out here. Just to show you, like these sheets. This was all a pile. This post on top of it. And you can see how that just gets tossed around. The things that I'm actively doing, or not doing in some cases, to get the moisture condensation under control is I stopped putting, it's too hot. I stopped putting, drying the dishes. Like anything that's wet, like a wet towel or something like that, I'll just hang that up right here on the thing and just, you know, wait until it gets washed. Okay, after I bathe, I try to completely dry off outside. I use a lot of wet wipes. And I used to just throw them in the trash. You know, the moisture was going somewhere. Well, I found it. Now I have actually like a bleach wipe container, an old one. So I use them and then I stuff them in there so they're sealed. And I crank the heat up most every day. And then just kick the door open. The dehumidifier, I would have needed to actually vent it, so it didn't work. It would have to be, and those are those things. That configuration of air conditioner are just garbage. So I don't want to put a hole or deal with anything. If that thing just worked without a vent hose as a dehumidifier, it would have been awesome, but I don't think it does. So, but what I've been doing seems to be working. So like if this coat, like I got wet or something like that, I wouldn't take it off in here. I would take it off in there. Now for some reason, this is staying a lot drier in here. I mean, I'm drying all the dishes as well. So there's a whole ton of water that doesn't end up in there, and this probably just stays drier because I'm not in there, and there's nothing else in there. So, and all these measures. Oh, and I have a little fan that I point at the wet spots, and I move that around. So it's drier than it's been now. So I feel like I've gotten that latent moisture just that was embedded potentially, like down in the floor, maybe within the wood that the floor is made out of. I don't know if it can absorb moisture or not. Obviously the air. So at this point, it's just like a maintenance thing. Like I know it's a problem. So now I'm attacking the mold, and hopefully with the you know, in like within the next month, being realistic, because being able to do like 3 little sections a day, because I'm still gonna wait for that to dry out, because I can't go in and just spray a bunch of moisture in there, because that's humidity and it's full of bleach, so it'd be like, ugh, I can't breathe. So I can only do a little bit per day, or go crazy one day and just do that, and then like literally don't do anything and be gone there for a while, like go out and get something to eat or something, and it's that bad. And but then I'd have to leave the door open and I can't really go out to eat. So all right, I've canned up 2 jars of chili. I got a bunch left. I'm gonna eat whatever I can eat, and then I'm gonna put the rest in there so I can wash the lodge. I have the middle of the day, basically. Not really middle. Towards the end of the day. It's about 2. And not quite ready to eat. The food is... I could literally just turn that off. This lodge, man, is so awesome. It just holds the heat, like, incredibly. So, I'm going to go pluck out some junipers. So I've been slowly working on plucking out all the junipers that are pretty much just this, like, some I'm gonna keep, some I'm gonna keep. Like that one I might keep. There might, because that's like right, there's gonna be a turnaround right here. And then so you can see I've been plucking them out for quite a while. I've got basically this whole side of the property plucked out, and I'm working on the area now that is going to be the in-earth greenhouse. Keep forgetting to buy a windshield wiper, but this is how this works. I just open up this clam, and I'm doing this with one hand now instead of 2 because I got a camera I'm trying to shoot it as well. So the one I'm going for here, and I go up on it, and I missed. Okay, I got it now. Now I'm going to take it out of gear and take off the brake and then do the clam in, and then I'm going to lift it and there I'm going to drop it, and I go here. The little ones are actually not super easy because they're little. And oops, I missed it twice. There we go. The reason I take it out of gear is so it can just pull right up to the tree. And bigger trees, it'll just move the whole backhoe. There, we got it. So let's do a bigger one here. There's a few different kinds of junipers, and they're actually there's a couple different ways depending on what they are. If they're the bushy ones, they come out differently than if they're like the tree ones. I got it now. Take it out of gear. Clam shut. There we go. See? And we're going to reverse it. Give it a little juice, more clam, and then going up with it. Oh, more clamp. Twist. Up. Done. Well, not quite done because I gotta knock them over so I don't come back to it again thinking I gotta do it again. And I want the ball to chunk off. It'll chunk off better if it's knocked over. So I've got a bunch of areas that are heavily, kind of heavily, like old growth sage. Just like old, huge, old. It's basically like dead. Like little parts of it will be alive, but everything around it's just super, super dead. Trying to knock it farther over. Yeah, so I'm doing that to the whole most of the property. Some are going to stay, but basically what's going on is I'm turning it into a bunch of pastures divided by tree lanes. So there'll be trenches. Basically, let's I don't know if that's the next step after this is getting like all this stuff, the sage, the trees, up and dealt with, removed basically. Whether it's, I'll probably do it with the machine because I kind of got the technique down. So I've taken out most of the huge sage, but you can see these sage patches. Yeah, you get the ants in here, the sage, the junipers, and then the grass is just pathetic. And the biggest problem with this setup, what's going on right now, is the grass is dying. You see that? That used to be a bigger clump of grass, but it's dying off. And you see that more around these areas that have big, right? Now this is doing nothing as far as sequestering carbon. These things are doing almost nothing. This is all emitting carbon. These aren't doing anything to sequester carbon, all right? Now this was a huge patch over here. I kind of sacrificed this corner for a scrap pile to process stuff out on this side without having to haul things all the way over there. So I have another little mini processing because I got to get all this stuff. This is like heavily woody, that just needs to be taken out, burned. And when I do go through and I mess up like areas like this, they start to come back with the grasses, right? And ideally, I would have some animals. At some point, I'd get goats to start the real hardcore conversion of the land itself. just a little update video on what's going on today. The sun is beaming right now. Let's go see what because I do this all day long. Let's go see what the power. Holy cow! Holy cow, 1400. But that's just amazing. Like just this little bit of sun that just popped out now has pushed that up. And because when I was just in there a minute ago, it was like a whole volt less, right? So, but there's a whole depth to this, like how long it sits at that voltage, and really until it gets up to like 44 volts, that's when it really has enough power in it to where I can comfortably feel like I can make it for long enough without getting too close to that power limit, right? So, all right, thanks for watching this video, and like and subscribe. Oh, God damn, I burned my eyes. Don't look at the sun.